Do you ever feel trapped in an endless cycle where no matter what you do, you always end up back at square one? Well, in this video, we will finally unlock the missing piece of your puzzle so you can become the most magnetic, enchanting version of yourself. And this isn't just about change. This is about you never again chasing anyone or anything and only attracting the most beautiful people and things that life has to offer. And don't just take my word for it. We're going to be listening to a client of mine that I worked with in January, talking how she went from a low self-worth, a low self-esteem, to feeling invincible in the space of 4 weeks. So you want to stick around for that to the very end. So Neville Goddard said, "There is nothing to change but self." This in and of itself proves that the mirror cannot change unless you do, which means your reality cannot reflect anything back to you unless you begin to change. So what is the mirror principle? Essentially, whatever is happening in your reality is reflecting back to you your own thoughts, beliefs, feelings, even your actions about yourself, about the world, and it's showing you what your inner world is saying. So let's say that you take a piece of paper, you draw a smiley face, and you show it to the mirror. The mirror can only reflect back to you that smiley face. So that means if your mirror is showing back to you happy, joyful things every single day, that means that you are writing on that piece of paper a smiley face. You are the master of your reality. And so your mirror will only reflect back to you what you write on that piece of paper. The same is true for the opposite. If your mirror is reflecting back to you, if your reality is reflecting back to you things that you do not like, things that you do not want, that means that you are creating it. You're creating the feelings, you're creating the thoughts, you're creating how they're showing up for you. And I know that may be hard to swallow, but we are not victims. We are winners. And so once you take responsibility, you can start to own what your mirror is showing back to you, what your mirror is reflecting back to you. And so what if you say, okay, I get that. I get that the mirror reflects back to me what I'm thinking and feeling, but I've been thinking and feeling great. I've been doing my meditations. I've been doing my affirmations. I've been listening to your sleep tape for the past 21 days, and nothing is changing. That wouldn't happen. But what if you say that to me? I have something that might trigger you. Newsflash. You haven't tried at all. And I know that might suck to hear. But let me tell you why I feel confident in saying that. Because if you have truly tried to catch yourself throughout the day, and I'm not talking about doing a 10-minute meditation and then spending 24 hours complaining. I'm talking about you have caught yourself every time you want to whinge, every time you want to cry, every time you want to complain, you've caught yourself and chose the news story. If you have tried to do that, it is physically impossible to not feel different. It's physically impossible for your reality to not change. Like, I don't think you understand. And this urgency that you feel would not be there had you done the work, had you actually settled into your body and recognized, oh, I've got this. Oh, I can have everything. Oh, I can have anyone, through repetition. You physically wouldn't need to hear from them. You wouldn't need to get that money. You wouldn't need to get that opportunity because you know it's already mine. I already have this. Carl Jung said it best. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. And so when you are telling me that you have tried everything, I know that you haven't. I just know that you haven't, and you're choosing to stay in victim mode. You're choosing to perpetuate the old story, the unworthiness, the lack of discipline, the lack of focus. You're choosing that. It's a choice. We get to choose to change. And the reason why I can say this is because I was a victim my whole life. I wanted you to pity me. I wanted you to feel sorry for me because of my shitty childhood. I wanted that excuse to not show up. I wanted people to justify my behavior. Well, she comes from, crazy family, so, that's why she behaved. No, you're an adult, okay? So you get to decide today if you want to make the change or not. And once you show up for yourself every single day, it is physically impossible to not feel better. And you're literally going to hear from a client who proves that. But if you're continuing to say, I feel bad, I don't feel good, I feel poor, I feel unworthy. If you're feeling like this, you're crying every day, how are feelings created? Through your thoughts. Your thoughts create your feelings, which create your behaviors, which create your outcomes, So if you're upset, you're at state, that's level 2. Let's go back to source. Let's go back to the beginning. Change your thoughts, you'll change your life. Because once you change your thoughts, you begin to change your beliefs. And this is where repetition comes in. And this is the mistake I don't want you to make. And I'm going to throw myself and my family under the bus here. For example, this is the kind of family that I came from. And bearing in mind, I left home at 15. And the shit that I left is still ongoing to this day, 2024. 2 days ago, I sent my mom an inner child meditation because I've done a lot of healing, I've done a lot of growing, I've now worked with hundreds of clients, I've had successful businesses, I've traveled the world, I've lived in multiple countries, but my best accolade is that I fucking love myself. I really like myself, and I fought hard to get there. And so then I share that with my family who aren't there and haven't tried to get there, but I still try, right? And so the other night I was sending my inner child meditation to my mom. I was like, make sure you give, your inner baby some love. Love you, good night. 2 hours later, she is arrested and put in jail for throwing her husband down the stairs. That's the kind of violence that I grew up around. That's the kind of animosity and vitriol that I've had to overcome, right? And the reason why I'm telling you this is she is a prime example of someone that does not want to change, someone that is addicted to her past, someone that is addicted to her trauma, someone that refuses to do the work. And this is why when you come to me and say, I've tried everything, and you send me 255 pages of your undesired circumstances, I'm not going to respond. Because if you're doing the work, those paragraphs that you just sent me would not exist. Because again, you are choosing the old story. You are choosing to exist in the old. You are choosing to feel sorry for yourself. You are choosing to be a victim. My whole family are the victims. They choose to be victims. I said to her, what were you thinking when you did that? Oh, he got me arrested. Why did he get you arrested? This is what human beings do. They want to be victims. Nothing is working. Everything is hard. I don't get what I want, Cool. If that's what you tell me, that's what's going to happen. But guess what? I don't care either way. I'm phenomenal. I feel amazing every day, regardless of what you're doing for yourself. I want you to feel as good as I feel. I want you to feel as good as my client feels, as you're going to hear in a few minutes. But if you don't do the work, I can't help you. And I have no desire to help you. I have no desire to, because I know how hard it is to change yourself, let alone someone that doesn't even want to change, let alone someone that refuses to take ownership of their life, someone that refuses to look at their mirror and say, oh, I created that. Nobody wrote the smiley face or the sad face on that piece of paper other than you. You create your reality. You are a master manifester. And so you can uncreate it, you can recreate it, you can recreate that person showing up differently, you can recreate your bank balance, you can turn your life around overnight. You have no idea how fast things can change. You have no idea what is around the corner. You think that you know, and you don't. Like, you have no idea how good it can get. And yet you choose to sit in this old story of things don't work out for me. Things aren't good. Okay, they're not. Is that what you want? Is that what you want me to say? I don't know. Okay, have a nice life. Because I refuse. Moving forward, I think I'm going to have requirements for who I work with. And maybe I'll have like a list of questions that I will ask before you purchase a package, because I refuse to work with victims. I refuse to work with people that aren't willing to do the work. And by the work, I mean choosing the new story over and over. And guess what? You may have to choose that new story 500 times per day. Do you think the environment that I was exposed to as a child, it was easy for me to choose joy and choose love and love myself? Like, you know, do you think that that's just something that happened 2 days ago? What do you think happened when we were children? Right? So I need you to understand that you are creating everything in your life, and you are not a victim. And if you say that things are not working, then things are not working. And if you say that things are working, then things are working. And if you say that you love yourself and that everything works out for you and that you are the most beautiful, radiant person and everybody loves you, then guess what? That's a fact. But just the same way as these walls are white and my hair is brown, that is a fact. And you get to decide. You get to choose. You get to choose to change or stay the same. It's entirely up to you. And another thing is, you know, I had someone comment like, please upload, a few days ago. Why? What do you need me to upload for? Do the work. Do the meditations. Do the affirmations. Show up for yourself. Do the mirror work. There's nothing else I can give you. Do the fucking work. You don't need me to post another video. You don't need to hear from me more. You don't need to watch another TikTok. You've done it all. You've read every book, and nothing's changed. Okay? Do the work. And then you will see that things change so quickly when you literally ignore everything around you. Like, that's not for me. I don't recognize that. I don't associate with that. That's not my life. That's not my reality. I refuse, point blank, to have that in my reality. This is for me. The abundance is for me. The love is for me. I feel abundant. I feel successful, etc., etc. You know the deal. I want everybody now to take a second and comment down below. Everything is always working out even better than I could ever imagine, with an orange love heart. And then I would love for you to stick around and hear from my amazing client who just spent the past 4 weeks doing the work every single day, ignoring her 3D and going within, shutting the door, closing her ears, closing her eyes and deafening her ears. The door to the senses must be tightly shut. And doing the work, showing up for herself every day and going from feeling like she hated herself to invincible in 4 weeks. Hello, Becky, my love. How are you?
Good, thank you.
It's so nice to see you. You're looking more radiant than when we last spoke. So let's go back. So when you reached out to me before the 30th of December. What made you reach out to me, and what kind of state were you in, and why? Why did you reach out?
I feel like I was coming from like desperation. I was kind of thinking like, why is it he's doing the same thing as like the other person has done, and the person before that, and the person before that? I kind of recognise I'm the common denominator in all of these situations. Like, and the more I reflect on it, I think, you know, he was displaying all these really lovely things, and I just didn't know how to react to it. Me being me 6 months ago, I just couldn't accept it. I think I hated myself. I didn't know what to do with it. I just did, and I think that ended up being like, that's where he was like, see ya. I just needed help to kind of guide me back to love myself.
So how has self-love changed your life? And let's talk about the process as well.
The first week I was the mirror work, I was like, oh, like this feels weird. But I just powered through it because I knew that's what I needed to do from the guidance that you gave. I do remember the first week, a lot of people from my past were coming back.
Yeah.
Or like 2 people from my past were coming back. And then just various people day to day in my day-to-day life were just saying compliments that I kind of was just like awkwardly writing in my journal.
Yeah.
And then the third week was quite tough, I think, because I was just getting panicky again.
Yeah.
And I think I emailed you a few times during that week, just like help.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I think by the fourth week, I think I said I just felt invincible. It was again, stemming from the self-love, and then the more I did it, the more I was comfortable with hearing myself saying it. As the weeks gone on, I feel like people have acknowledged confidence, I think.
Your confidence?
Yeah, had I not done this, I don't think getting the confidence to drive would have ever have happened either. Because I was very anxious with driving because I again doubted myself. The mirror work and things like that just talked me into doing it.
Yeah. So on our fourth call,
Yeah.
on our the fourth week, you actually called me from your car.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yeah. And I think just before that, I just did loops around where I live. And now I literally drove to my grandma's house, which is on the other side of Bristol.
Yeah.
And had you asked me if that would happen like 2 months ago or before we did the call, like before we started coaching, I would have like laughed in your face.
Wow.
Like
That's
I literally was
amazing.
like, yeah, literally in December, start of December, I would have said like absolutely passenger princess all the way.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's amazing. I couldn't have said it better myself. So what would you say to people that are watching this that are just desperate for that person and that thing, and they're like scrambling and reaching out to me and sending me 250 paragraphs of their undesired circumstances? What would you say to like ease their mind and just do the work?
just literally just do the work. You need to put the focus on yourself.
Yeah.
Like the more you panic, the more you're going to push it away.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of panicking, you're coming from a place of desperation. Because at the end of the day, you are the main character
Yes.
in your story. Like you are it. You are like I've been writing in my like self-love like journal, like I am the it girl. Like I am it.
Yes. Oh
So
my
I just
God.
think you just need to keep going, like powering through and just ignoring what's actually happening around you. We just have to be delusional. Like even if whatever's showing up isn't what you want, you kind of just have to be in your own little bubble and just ignore it.
Yeah.
And just tell yourself that's actually not what's happening. Like he is texting you or he is doing this, that, and the other.
When you saw the undesired circumstances, what would you do to stop thinking about that and just remain in your bubble?
Loop affirmations. I literally just loop that over and over and over.
Yeah.
And then you advised me doing lots more breath work than what I was originally doing back in like week 1, week 2.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that quite a lot. Feeling stressed out, I'm just like,
yeah.
So I did a lot of breath work. I really liked into the 8-hour meditation that you gave. And sometimes I think I said to you the last night, it just comes naturally now.
Yeah.
It's like I just find myself just saying it in my head.
That's exactly what happens. That's why I'm
Yeah.
like at the beginning, inundate your mind with as much as you can. That's why I have the rampage, the loop affirmations, the meditations, affirmations, and by the end of it, you don't need to do that because your brain's doing it for you.
And I actually remember going to you in week 3. You just gave me those new loop affirmations, and it just changed the game for me. I think don't give up because you don't know what's around the corner.
Facts. Like literally you have no idea how close and how quick things can change. And also just about that changing your loop affirmations, I think the reason, can you imagine if I'd have given you the loop affirmations that I gave you in week 3 in week 1, you probably wouldn't have had that foundation of pure self-love and pure self-acceptance. You know, it was like incremental. I mean, I could have done that and maybe it would have worked. But I just, for me personally, on my journey, I found, okay, I need to do inner child work. I need to feel safe, secure, loved, and adored, you know, and incrementally move up to, yes, I'm a goddess. Yes, I'm a goddess alive. If you can just, you know, say I'm a goddess alive and you believe it on week 1, amazing. I personally couldn't. Maybe you could have. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I could have. When people have said like my previous past was people giving me compliments, and I just like
Yeah.
like because I don't believe it, and I think if you gave me that in week 1, I wouldn't have. I probably would have really struggled to even loop those affirmations because I didn't believe it.
So I had to meet you where you were. And then week 3, I was like, okay, let's ramp it up. And literally in a week, it was like, boom. Like, self-love has melted into every part of your life, like with driving, with friends, with your work, with yourself. Like it's taken over your life and just transformed how you think and feel about yourself.
I didn't realize that was the root of everything else. So it's like you need to start with that first before you can get everything else to fall into place.
Yeah.
Now looking back, I think I did hate myself, and I think I didn't I didn't see myself as the main character, and I didn't see myself as being able to get whatever I wanted. And you need to realize you're not a side character in your story.
You're not a
Like,
side dish. You're not the side
don't
dish at
make yourself,
Nando's.
don't make yourself the side character. You are the main character, and if you continue thinking like they are that like God,
Yes.
then it's going to be really difficult for you. And just believe in the process, I think. Like, don't doubt it, because I think doubting kind of holds you back a little bit more.
How would someone believe when their 3D is so bad?
Oh, good question. Maybe staying delusional with things. You kind of just need to tell yourself things for your mind to believe it. Because at the start, I didn't believe it, and then that's when I kind of had my wobble. But you just have to tell yourself the most obscure things, and the more you repeat, I think it's repeating those obscure things, you start to believe it. And also, like, don't complain about things.
You said it perfectly, but I would just add, repetition dissolves your disbelief.
And repeating everything as well. Because I think if I had just given up what was saying those loop affirmations, that if I only said it once, I don't think I would believe it.
I would love for everyone to comment down below and thank Becky for sharing her story. Give her the love, give her positivity, send love and light. And also another thing, guys, I really love it when people say to me, I love you on here, because when I say I love you, I comment on TikTok all the time to people, you know, I love you, and people are like, whoa, it's weird, because I love you has been kind of boxed into romance. You know, we don't really say it to our friends, or we don't really say it to just strangers. You know, if we get to go up to the street and say I love you to a stranger, be like, should we call the police now? Or like, you know, but you guys get it. And you say I love you to me all the time, and I comment back, I fucking love you, because I am so grateful to receive that love and to give you that love. And I would love for you to send that love to your friends, to send that love to your family, to comment on random videos, I love you, and to say to random people, I love you, because spreading that love is just a magnet for miracles. So thank you to everyone. You are worthy, you are loved. I love you, and thank you.